What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and I mean way up, and I'm excited for this because this is somebody who is for real way up. Shaina Rainford is here. She is the CEO of Bask and Lather. These are the products. I actually took these products with me when I went on vacation with my friends.
Aww.
And we were in St. Martin, and so everybody had to borrow like a, shampoo and conditioner from me because nobody else bought theirs. But I had to, and they loved it too.
Aww.
I was like, y'all can't be using all my products up. But welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And I also, before we even get started, want to thank you for your partnership with Way Up with Angela Yee.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Angela Yee Day is coming up, and we were just talking behind the scenes on what Bask and Lather will be doing at Angela Yee Day.
Yes, we're super excited. Am I allowed to share?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes.
Let's break the news.
So Angela Yee Day is all about the community, and Bask and Lather is also all about the community. So we will be on site giving away hair care products and book bags, getting the kids ready for back to school.
Okay. And listen, and what's in the book bags?
The book bags will have the edge control that the kids need. That way they go to school and come home looking the same way. We'll have shampoo, conditioner, deep conditioner. And we have book bags for boys, for girls, different colors. So we're excited. Every year we're always looking for great ways to partner and do back to school initiatives. We're also happy that you're going to have braiders and barbers involved. So we're definitely looking forward to being able to have as many kids as possible get their hair back to school ready.
Yeah, listen, I want to say this too. Last year was a lot of adults as well. Let's let the kids go first, okay? Okay. But let's talk about your history and your background and how you even got to where you are, because I think people need to also understand that this whole company, Bask and Lather, was something that happened organically for you. So just talk about a little bit about what young Shaina went through to even lead you to come up with this product, because a lot of times there's home remedies that we have coming up, and that is actually something that later in life you're like, this could be a business.
Yes. So our original product, our scalp stimulator oil, far precedes the company actually becoming a company. So a few years ago, my younger sister, Aaliyah, lost all of her hair. She had a really bad ringworm that spread all across her scalp. And initially, it looked just like dandruff. So that's what she was diagnosed with. And by the time she got a proper diagnosis, she lost so much hair that she had a big crop circle. She only had hair around the circumference of her hair.
Dang.
Yep. And then my mom finally found a black dermatologist who was able to properly diagnose her. And the antifungals that she took cleared off the rest of the hair loss. So her scalp,
gosh.
Yep, it was shiny,
That's
small.
devastating.
Yep, it was shiny and smooth as baby skin. And my mom was really desperate to regrow her hair. She was devastated. And she took her to all different types of specialists, and they did scalp analysis. And they said, we don't know that her hair is ever going to grow back, right? Like the follicles could be scarred over. And she was too young to use anything pharmaceutical. So my mom did research about natural, efficacious ingredients for hair growth, whipped up a concoction in the kitchen, which is our scalp stimulator oil. And then her hair started to grow back.
That's amazing.
But it was growing in fine and thin. So she did more research, like, okay, what can I use to thicken her hair? And she came across Jamaican black castor oil. And so she created our hair elixir, and that helped her hair to grow in faster and thicker. And now her hair is all the way down to her bottom, and she has 4C hair.
I know that's right. And as much as we could feel like, oh, is this something that's just the idea of like your hair? I remember I had a patch of hair that was missing because somebody did my bun so tight on the top of my head, and it really like ripped it out, and then it grows back slow. It's like a little patch like right here that's super short, but it's things like that. Our edges, we know how hard that is when it's like, look, getting braids sometimes, not these though, shout out to Shy and my girl Destiny, but there's times that things we do to our hair can really affect that, and sometimes it could be one style. Or something like you said with ringworm that didn't get diagnosed, and then she took the medication and it really affected her hair. That can just cause like damage that could potentially be permanent. But to also know that there are holistic ways to approach growing your hair back is important.
Yes, but that's not even the reason we started the company. So now fast forward to the pandemic. I'm working as a nurse practitioner. I acquired COVID.
Can I say thank you for that first and foremost?
Thank you.
Because no matter what, we always got to give praise to all of the essential workers and nurse practitioners. And I want to talk about that before, but go ahead.
Yep, so I was working as a nurse practitioner. I acquired COVID, became so sick. I was 27 on the back of an ambulance on a non-rebreather, asking God to let me live to raise my children. I recovered, and then a few weeks later, my hair started to shed and break. It was horrible, and I was devastated about my hair. And I'm like, okay, well, for someone that was literally just begging to live a few weeks ago to be devastated over their hair, you would think that would be the least of my concerns, but it was really embarrassing. And I was like, Ma, can you make me some oils? Like, I don't know what else to do. I tried emergency treatments. I said, do I need protein? Do I need moisture? Like, what can I do? And nothing was helping. So my mom made me the oils, and I started using them, and my hair reverted back to normal. Texture changed back to normal. My hair started growing. The breakage stopped. And I said, we have to share these products with the world. And that's what we did.
Can we talk about your time, though, during COVID, working as a nurse practitioner? What were some of the things that you experienced and saw, and then you really literally put your life on the line?
It was like living in the Twilight Zone. Like, honestly, even thinking back to it, it doesn't feel like a real lived experience. I went from working in the office, my specialty was GI and liver diseases, to going into the hospital and seeing, yes, older adults, you know, critically ill, but even younger people whose lives were just turned upside down overnight, couldn't interact with their families. Imagine being sick in the hospital and your closest relatives can't even come touch you or see you, you know, on your last days. Literally, it was, I can't describe it as anything other than the Twilight Zone.
Right. I'm sure some of those things stick with you like to this day. You know, we just always got to give it up for that, because that's such a difficult time to have been through. And what you said and what I said earlier is so true, that you feel like, is this just vain that I care so much about my hair? But society has so much to say. And even for ourselves, like the value on making sure we take care of our hair and keep it healthy is such a, you know, it's such a big deal.
Absolutely. So your hair is literally the crown that you never take off.
That's what my grandfather always used to say.
I don't care what you're wearing. If your hair is done, you look good. You don't even need makeup. Just have your hair done.
Okay, so now as a nurse practitioner, but now you have this product, right? Because after COVID, you saw how much it helped you. What was the next step that you took?
Yeah, so this was summer 2020 that I was able to regrow my hair using the product. So I just started sharing my testimonies, my before and afters, and my sisters on my personal social media. And everyone's like, what are you using? What are you using? And I was like, oh, just oils that my mom's making. They're like, can I buy some? And I got bottles from Amazon, and we were filling the bottles, and they didn't even have labels. People didn't even ask me what was in it. They didn't care.
They were like, I'll take it.
They just wanted it. People were like, don't tell the IRS. They're like cash apping me. They were doing drop-offs, pickups. I was like, this almost feels illegal. Like, and then I said, you know what? We need to make this a real legitimate business. So come around October, November of the year, I was like, okay, I was sitting on the rug with my son. I was like, we need to come up with a name. I was like, I didn't want it to directly include hair or anything relating cosmetics. I wanted it to be kind of ambiguous. I was like, okay, what exudes luxury for the everyday Black woman that will make people feel good? So I was looking up synonyms for the word relaxation, and I came up with the word Bask. And then my son, who was 14 at the time, came up with, he's like, what about in Lather? And then
we were like, yes, son.
Yeah, so we came up with Bask and Lather. And then I remember after work one day, I was going to the post office with a huge bag of orders ready to ship. And the guy at the post office was like, oh, Bask and Lather, this is a really nice name. And I was like, let me go trademark it.
Before the postman does.
Yep, so we trademarked it within 3 months of starting the business. The 1 month revenue from the business was replacing my 1 year salary as a nurse practitioner.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And then within 7 months, we became a 7-figure business. And now we've grown significantly. This year alone, we grew to 22 employees and still hiring.
Yay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just think about from tragedy, something like this grew.
Yep.
You know, and I want to ask you the process too, because obviously as it goes from being like an at-home remedy that you can make yourself, but then it just grew so fast, it was impossible to do it that way. And so how did things change when you realized, okay, now I got to ship out, like, you know, I got to get this mass produced? Because that's something that consumers think about too, right? Is it going to be different now? Is the formula changing? Like, what are the things that you had to do? Because then obviously you have to also make sure that, you know, you can actually keep up with these orders. It's one thing to have a bunch of orders. It's another thing to be able to fulfill them.
Exactly. So for the first 7 months, we operated the business out of my kitchen and living room. Ooh. So I was always blessed to have friends and family, and they would all come over every week, and I paid everyone from day one. They would come over on the week. We would fill oils all week. And in mind you, I still had a full-time job. And on weekends, we would bulk ship all of the orders. And Monday morning, trucks would back to my house, like back up the driveway and pick up truckloads from my house. Sheesh. I know the neighbors were like, what is going on at this house? But
like the Scarface of hair care.
Exactly. And then as we grew, I said, okay, it's no longer sustainable for us to continue to fulfill the product, market, and also fulfill the orders. So we got a contract manufacturer, and we own all of our formulas. So they have to benchmark and match all of our products exactly as they're formulated. And then they mass produce them.
Okay.
And then as the business continued to grow, I remember our Labor Day sale went so crazy. You would think I would be happy, but no, I literally sat in my conference room and cried because we had piles and piles and piles and piles of orders just from everywhere. Like, we just could not keep up. And it was at that moment I said, okay, we need to find a fulfillment partner who can fulfill and ship all of our orders. And they do that within one business day, where they were shipping. We went from shipping 2 years ago 10,000 orders a month to now over 150,000 orders a month.
Yeah, you can't do that alone.
Exactly.
With friends and family.
Yep. So they handle that for us, because I know that's a great part of customer experience, is everyone wants their things quickly.
Yes, they don't want to be like, it's 2 weeks, where's my stuff? And that's also hard as a business owner when you're trying to understand the balance of, like, we want to get these orders in, but we also want to make sure that we have enough time to actually fulfill and have enough. Also, I think during the pandemic, some things were hard to get, like supplies also.
Exactly. So we started the tail end of the pandemic, so December 2020. So that's when supply chain and things were easing up. But even so, it wasn't until 2023 that I actually got a fulfillment partner to fulfill and ship. They're called third-party logistics centers, and they have 500,000 square feet where our products are shipped from, and they fulfill and ship, and they handle the fulfillment portion of us. That way, we could focus on other parts of the business.
Speaking of other parts of the business, you said you had friends and family over helping you. You paid them. What is that like? Because some people would say family and business and friends and business don't always mix.
So I would say, I think that, so they always showed up, right? I think it's no different, right, than at the end of the day, they were being paid, right? They showed up. I think the difference is that when you have friends and family that are not doing a good job, it's easier when it's an employee that you don't have any outside ties to, right, to kind of go your ways. But now when it's your friend, family, or loved one, that's where the issues arise. I've never particularly had an issue with a friend or family member trying to get paid and just not do anything because of our relationship. But you have to hold everyone to the same standard, and that's where the issue lies.
Ooh, so you did have like some growing pains, because that is a hard balance. It's one thing where you're like, I want to put my people in position. We're going to do this together. And we have these like great lofty ideas of how it's going to happen. But a lot of times it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, I definitely have my breaking point with the friends and family. And I said, no, I have to hire real employees. I still remember the Sunday I sat down on my computer and I went on the job posting sites and I posted, we need warehouse associates, we need fulfillment associates. Because I just said, I have to, if I want to continue to grow this business, I have to do things the formal way. Yeah. Right? Because with friends and family too, they had their own jobs and I'm having to work around their schedules and we can only fulfill on the weekends. So I remember that turning point where I actually said, okay, no, now I need actual real employees.
How were you able to maintain those relationships, or were you after that? Because sometimes those are hard conversations.
I actually did lose my best friend, during this process, because I remember it was one Sunday and she knew I really relied on her, and she told me like 2 hours before she knew everyone was coming over to pack orders, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it today. And I personally feel like it was done purposeful to let me know very last minute, no, this X happened, Y happened, whatever it was. And then I said, okay, don't worry about it. But then she never followed back up after that. And I had literally to this day, have not spoken to her.
So she just called out and never spoke to you again.
Yep.
That is wild. That something like that would happen. And that was your best friend.
She was in the delivery room with me when I gave birth to my son.
I'm sorry that happened. Let me tell you something about business. It will really show you, people's true colors. I wonder what that was about.
I wonder, but you know what? Man above knows all.
Right.
And that's only for him to know, not me.
What do you want to, when you think about that, I know you have your son, like you said, who was 14. Do you have other children too?
Yes, I have a 7-year-old and a 5-month-old.
Oh. And in the midst of all this, having a baby.
I had 1 day of maternity leave this year.
Oh my gosh. Man, so when you think about how you want this business to grow, I also think about how we've seen things like, with Carol's daughter, we saw Lisa Price. People looked at it like, she did give up some control of the company, but now she has it back, right? And when you think about getting to the point where it's like, are you doing this forever? Is this going to be handed down from generation to generation? I've always been taught that you build a company in case one day you want to sell it, or like you would sell it, because that's how you want to build it, regardless of what your plan is. Do you have a bigger plan?
I do. So I would say that what really people need to understand is that sometimes founders don't sell because they want to. It's because they're forced. When you get into a certain part, so one of the reasons we strategically not going into retail yet, retailers have been after us, right? And we are very e-commerce heavy, very profitable and successful online. We purposefully have not gone into retail because when you go into retail, right, retailers will order $1 million worth of product. You don't get your money for 2 to 3 months.
Right.
If you're lucky.
And then if you don't sell through,
they will return it back to you. Mm-hmm. And that's inventory and things that you could have sold online. And now you have inventory that's aging at their mercy. They also have significant fees, product placement fees to be on the shelf.
Distribution.
Their promotion fees, right? So for us, right, we're like, okay, we spent our first 5 years in business accumulating cash and being profitable and understanding our business and our consumer and strengthening our supply chain, right? For example, this year, we grew 1,000% year over year compared to last year. And we had stock issues. We had this marketplace wanted product, and we have #1 products on TikTok, and we have our own e-commerce site. And then I didn't even ever realize that wholesale beauty supply stores, they want 50,000 units of this and they want that. And our supply chain got stretched thin. We all got stretched thin, right? And we've had to find now some of the biggest manufacturers that do textured hair care in the U.S. to be able to keep up with our demand. If you are in retail and you tell them you don't have product and they're used to selling X amount of product per week in their stores, they will charge you full retail price for every product sale that they lost.
Oh, I never heard of that.
So when you go into retail, it looks glamorous, it looks great, but you need to be fully prepared. You need to know what you're doing. You need to make sure that you have cash. Otherwise, what happens is, right, you can go into retail, go into all these stores, it looks great. You need cash and things to support that, because what happens also now is that you don't get your money back from them for months, and then you'll end up in a place where you need investors to sustain your business, and then you got to sell off this piece of business and take this loan and this. And Bask and Lather, that we have $0 in debt and we have no investors.
Ooh, that is such a relief to be able to have that. And I want to say people have to understand also, because I've seen businesses actually go bust because they got into retail, and that was really like the biggest mistake that they've made.
Exactly. It looks great, but like
I'm glad you broke it down like that, though, because I don't know if a lot of people understand that.
They don't, and it's because there are other founders, right, great Black-owned businesses that got themselves into that situation because they thought retail was the end-all be-all. And then they end up in really tight spots, or they had to sell off significant parts of their business. And sometimes it's not that they wanted to, but they had to sustain. So, for example, like Carol's daughter, you see she brought her company back. Right. So that's great when it happens. It even happens outside of, beauty and things like that. We've seen it with other founders, right? It's just something you have to tread lightly. And I'm a person that I move when God tells me to move. And I'm going to continue to be strategic and make sure that I'm setting the company up for success and my team.
Wow, that's amazing. I appreciate you for sharing all of that, because there's people listening that are thinking about how they want to structure their business, and that was a lot of great insight. Another thing that's been really great for you is TikTok.
Yes.
And you just mentioned that. So can you explain how TikTok has been really vital for the growth of Bask and Lather?
Absolutely. So we love TikTok. That's my favorite social media platform. I feel that TikTok gives everyone a chance. They flew us out this week. We were at the U.S. Black Chambers with them, representing the company, and we actually got to speak at the Capitol. Am I allowed to say politicians' names?
Go ahead. It's fine.
We were speaking with Schumer's office about TikTok and all that it's done for our business. And so we were early adopters of TikTok Shop. And TikTok is a huge acquisition channel. We have video after video after video organically with no paid dollars behind it go viral. Blew us up. We have 3 bestsellers on TikTok. Our Edge Control is the #1 styling gel in the country, not only on TikTok, but all platforms. Because of TikTok, we have the #1 hair growth oil sold on TikTok and the #1 scalp and hair balm. And I just love TikTok because it's a place where the everyday average person can roll out of bed, make a video. We have creators who've been able to leave their jobs and they just promote products full time, right? And they get commission. I just love the platform. I love what it's doing for businesses. For us, it's got us in front of audiences that no other platform would allow us to get in front of for free, right? Yeah. Everywhere else is structured heavily off of you pay to play. So we absolutely love TikTok. We have a great partnership and relationship with them, and we really do hope it's around to stay.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Now seeing all the, at first it looked like, remember TikTok went off for, how long was it gone? Like
19
a day?
hours.
Yeah, it was like a day. People were losing their minds. But now we're also figuring out what's going to happen like with TikTok. And so, but I also think when things like that happen, it also makes you realize I got to have, and I know that's what, 25%?
So last year, actually, TikTok was about 60% of our business.
Okay.
And funny enough, so I told you we grew 1,000% year over year. So first when we went viral on TikTok back in 2023, that's when I first got to the point in business where I'm like, okay, I have to stop trying to do everything on my own. I was like, I'm going to hire a social media manager. Hired a social media manager. My son, Jaden, who was 15 at the time, he said, Ma, your social media manager sucks. I can do your TikTok. I said, you don't know anything about women or hair. You cannot do TikTok. He said, it's not about women and it's not about hair. It's about content strategy. Sure enough, he took over our TikTok. Viral video after viral video. I swear we would post at like 7 p.m. on a Monday, and by Tuesday morning have like 500,000 views on the videos. And these are shoppable videos.
We need to hire him.
Exactly. Well, now he's our head of growth. So that's why we grew.
Can we get him over here?
That's why we grew 1,000% year over year. He took over. Now he leads all paid media strategy across all of our marketing channels. Like, we have agencies with CMOs and people with more experience than he's been alive, and he's leading the strategy. He lives and breathes marketing, and he's a straight A student.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
What's his salary? No, I'm kidding.
Don't tell FAFSA.
Don't tell him how to ask for a raise, okay?
But literally, and not only that, like, he's looking at our profit margins and making sure we're advertising profitably. And he's even like, I don't come from a corporate world, right? I come from nursing, and I knew nothing about team structure, right? So I remember I promoted my operations manager to director of operations, and he's like, Mom, what is she directing? The circus? You have no one under her. You can't have a director
without team under her. That's so funny.
So now we have an operations manager and an operations coordinator under her. So he's always like, he loves business and structure, and he's always studying and always watching podcasts. Like, he lives and breathes it, and he's grown the company like crazy. No one believes he's 17. He's been on some podcasts with me. Very smart. So great kid. But again, he's the one, right? So I actually do think we're going to end up in international retail markets before we're in U.S. retail stores.
Sheesh.
And that's also a strategic play.
So what's his title?
Head of growth.
Okay, and he has a team under him. He's the director of...
Well, he leads our agency. Okay, wow. He strategizes, they execute.
He got that. Was he always like that, or was it from watching you?
I think it's innately in him. Like, when I had Jaden, I was 17. I graduated high school. He was 1 year old on my hip. I graduated with honors. He then watched me go through my first bachelor's degree. I went to Lehman College in the Bronx, and then I went back, got an accelerated nursing degree from Pace University. So we literally, in the summers, were in my living room with the blinds closed. And nursing is the hardest bachelor's degree you can get. I was literally studying morning to night. Thank God he was a good kid. And he watched me study from morning to night, graduated, became a nurse. I was working full-time nights in the ER while getting my master's degree to be a nurse practitioner. Then I became a nurse practitioner, started the business. He watched me always grind nonstop. So I think it's just really in him, right? That grind and that hustle. And he loves marketing. Right.
And relationship-wise, how is that for you? How do you have time to even...
He's the boss. My son?
No, I'm just talking about outside of... I'm talking about like romantically... You like, look, we got... But how do you have time for that?
I don't.
And what would you tell people who are trying to balance? Like, because it is true, being an entrepreneur, being a founder, and wanting to have and having the success that you have, that does cut into your social life.
It cuts into your social life, and I also think that when you're at certain levels, your pool of people that you could even entertain should, well, not that it is, but it should be this small, right? Because especially when you're a woman, it's difficult to date a man, and like, men naturally, right, need to be needed. They need to be the leader, right? And if you're a woman and now you're a boss and you're powerful, you need someone who's like on your level or higher, right? And I think that creates friction there. But right now I'm very, very focused on business. So
all right, you might have some itches, that's all I'm saying. But no, and I do want to say I love this scalp. When I have braids, this is when is the best time for me to use this scalp stim because I come in here every day. So I keep this here, and I come in here every day in front of the mirror, and I'm always like putting this in my scalp because I'm like perfect. You can see every single part of my scalp,
and it feels so good.
Yes, but like I told you, your products have been absolutely amazing. It's all I use now.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. Are there plans for expansion of the line to other products that you're going to be introducing? Because that's another thing. Like, how do you know when it's time to, add more products to the line?
We create. So we never just sit around and say, oh, well, we want to create this. It's always what the customers ask for. So every single product in our line now is complimentary and customers have asked for it. And now next year we have about 3 products coming out per quarter. It's been long overdue. And these are all products that customers have asked for. They're all about strengthening your hair, healthy scalp first products, and we'll make sure you're amongst the first to use them.
I know that's right. All right. Well, I appreciate you so much. And again, are you going to be at Angela Yee Day? Will people see you there?
We will be at Angela Yee Day, the entire Bask and Lather team, along with myself. Very, very excited.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for it, and I appreciate you so much, and thank you. And just amazing. Your story is just incredible, and that's what Way Up is all about, too, highlighting these incredible stories. And your success is well-deserved, and I love to see it.
Thank you.